Alright, Barakatha Yahawah, Barakatha YAHAWASHI, Kahalayim La Alahai Nawi Yahawah, Bashim YAHAWASHI, Bashim Kakudash, which means all praises to the Most High in the name of the Son, in the name of the Holy Spirit. Peace and blessings be upon the hopeful elect of Yasha Allah, the only Israelites, alright, that are predestinated to receive salvation from the Heavenly Father, Yahawah, Bashim YAHAWASHI, and double honors to our elders and apostles, of course, and the bishops that came back in the reincarnation known as the Great Millstone. And do a short lesson. It's not going to be long. I just want to prove a point here and provide the flock with the proper information and doctrine that all of Paul's writings are 100% truth. Just as John the Baptist was in the truth, all right, Paul was also in the truth. YAHAWASHI never came back and corrected Paul on anything that he was teaching. All right, and YAHAWASHI HaMashiach, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, was at the forefront of what Paul was teaching, and he always put him in there as a mediator. Okay, even though the way that he taught was different because of the diaspora of our Israelites. And what we're going to come to find out is when people negate, all right, and are put aside that we were scattered, it becomes a very hard pill to swallow that the Israelite foreigners and the Gentiles in the scriptures, in majority, when you read, speaking about Israelite foreigners, the Greeks, strangers, all right, the Hellenistes, the Helen, all right. So here I just want to do a short lesson really quick, a couple of precepts to show you that Paul did teach what YAHAWASHI taught, all right. They had the same doctrine, all right, it aligned, all right, and Paul expounded on it in different ways and metaphorically to the Israelite foreigners. Now let me start here with Paul's letter. Well, let me go to Colossians so you can see. All right, this is Colossians 1:1. It says, Paul, an apostle of YAHAWASHI Mashiach, by the will of Yahweh, and Timotheus, our brother, to the saints and faithful brethren in Hamashiach which are at Colossae, grace be unto you and peace from our Father Yahweh and then Lord YAHAWASHI Mashiach. So he's basically saying Yahweh Bashim YAHAWASHI Brakatham Bashim Kakwadash. It's a salute to the Israelites that are in Colossae. Now, in the third part of this letter, or the third chapter, start at the top, it says, if ye be risen with Hamashiach, seek those things which are above, where Hamashiach sitteth on the right hand of Yahweh. All right, now, as you go down here, I'm going to keep reading. The point's going to be in 5 and beyond. It says, set your affection on things above and not on things of earth. All right, well, what does that sound like? That sounds a lot like Matthew chapter 6 and verse 19. All right, Matthew 6 and 19, it says, lay not up yourself treasures upon earth where moth and corruption, where moth and rust doth corrupt, and where thieves break through and steal, but lay up yourself treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust doth corrupt, and where thieves do not break through nor steal. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. So Paul's saying the same thing that YAHAWASHI taught him directly. All right. And that's what we're going to come to find out also, that people in these times are just upset with the way Paul is bringing the truth to the Israelite foreigners, waking up in the masses. All right. So again, Colossians 3:2, set your affection on things above and not on things on earth, because that's where your heart will lie. It says, for ye are dead, and your life is hid with Hamashiach in the Most High Yahweh, all right, in the power. When Hamashiach is our life, when Hamashiach, who is our life, that's why I say he's our lifeline, all right, he's our life, shall appear, then shall ye also appear with him in glory. All right, now, the only way to do this is to do what YAHAWASHI said. So Paul is going to reiterate it here. So the doctrines align. He taught the same thing. Mortify therefore your members which are upon earth, and he expounds on it. All right, he actually expounds on it. Mortify your members which are on earth. Fornication, uncleanness, inordinate affection, evil concupiscence, covetousness, which is idolatry. Let's read in the NLT. It says, so put to death the sinful earthly things lurking within you. Have nothing to do with sexual immorality, impurity, lust, and evil desires. Don't be greedy, for a greedy person is an idolater, worshiping the things of this world. For which things' sake the wrath of the Most High cometh on the children of disobedience. Right, which you can't. That's why let's go to Matthew 18 to show you how it aligns. All right. Let me see. Okay, here it is. Mortifying the members. All right. This is Matthew 18:8. It says, "Wherefore, if thy hand or thy foot offend thee, cut them off and cast them from thee. It is better to enter into life halted or maimed, rather than have 2 hands or 2 feet to be cast into everlasting fire." Right, because those things are supposed to be mortified. You can't carry these deeds, all right, that we performed in the flesh before we found out this truth. Those characteristics cannot translate over into the truth and affect the ministry, ourselves. You can't quench the spirit. All right, you can't let that root within you. That's why you have to meditate on YAHAWASHI. And he told us to love thy brother as thyself. All right. And worship YAHAWASHI in truth and sincerity. And it'll be easier to say, you know what? I see that foot acting up. I see that hand acting up. I see those deeds trying to rise up. You got to pray to YAHAWASHI to mortify your members. All right. Now, what are these members? Again, Paul expounds on it in Colossians 3. Colossians 3:5. It says, "Mortify therefore your members which are upon earth, fornication, uncleanness." And you know what you got to deal with. Every man does. All right. Inordinate affection, evil concupiscence, covetousness, which is idolatry, for which thy sake the wrath of the Most High, YAHAWASHI, cometh on the children of disobedience. That's that fire. Cast that shit into the fire now, or because you can't bring it with you later, in which he also walked sometime when you lived in them. See, in the NLT, you used to do these things when your life was still part of this world. All right. And if you're a brother that's dealing with this stuff and the help and everything is in place for you to get better and you're not getting better, well, then you got to go. Because remember, we're the body of YAHAWASHI. YAHAWASHI is the head of the church. He gets the preeminence. He's the head of the body. All right, the body does not want to be hurting. It's supposed to get stronger and stronger and expel the parasites. The immune system should be tight. See, the prophets are like the immune system of YAHAWASHI. We see what's coming, we mark it, we warn it, we attack it and flood it with truth, with the true nutrients, the living waters. All right, but us ourselves, we know how we need to examine ourselves. That's what Paul also said, which that also, now that I'm thinking about it, that aligns with YAHAWASHI's teaching. He said, "Examine thyself whether thou be in the faith." All right, examine thyself whether that be in the faith of YAHAWASHI in Corinthians. All right. In order to examine or try yourself, you're going to have to purge something. Matthew 18:9. "And if thy eye offend thee, pluck it out and cast it from thee. It is better for thee to enter into life with one eye, rather than having 2 eyes to be cast into hellfire." Right. You don't want to be that child of disobedience that Paul was speaking about, the apostle, in Colossians 3. All right, let's keep going. Colossians 3:8, it says, "But now ye also put off all these, anger, wrath, malice." So not just 1 or 2, all of it. All right, it's a summation of it. You have to strive to get rid of all this stuff. It's not going to work. All right, you can't be a child of light and a child of darkness. All right, the body won't allow it. "But now ye also put off these things, all these, anger, wrath, malice, blasphemy, filthy communication out of your mouth." And you see these guys doing it now. All right, these are the hands, the feet, the toes. There's a lot of sincere out there. You're watching their videos and you're like, damn, these guys are saying the Gentiles can be saved now. Why are their doctrines starting to align with the world's doctrine, where you came from? Because they never really mortified their members. Some of them might even be Gawaya, might be heathen for all we know. Verse 9, "Lie not one to another, seeing that ye have put off the old man with his deeds." Right. People in the world, you're not even supposed to. Ultimately, YAHAWASHI says, "Thou shalt not lie." All right. But of course, we're in the carnal flesh. But when it comes to the body, all right, the household of faith, you're not supposed to lie to each other. You're not supposed to bear false witness. You're not supposed to be murmuring, backbiting, these types of things. That affects the body overall. All right. And it's felt in the spirit. So lie not one to another, seeing that ye have put off the old man with his deeds, and put on the new man. All right, now that's what I wanted to get. It came back to me. John 15. All right. John 15:4 it says, Abide in me, and I in you, as the branch cannot bear fruit of itself, except it abide in the vine. No more can ye, except ye abide in me. And that's why I spoke about that precept where Paul said to the Corinthians, all right, examine thyself, whether thou be in the faith. Because if you're not abiding in YAHAWASHI, all right, or praying for the supply of the Spirit, let's get that too, you will soon fall away. Because soon you'll become fruitless. All right. This is Philippians 1:19. It says, For I know that this shall turn to my salvation through prayer and the supply of the Spirit of YAHAWASHI Mashiach. All right, so this whole nonsense about him teaching the wrong things and his doctrine being different, it aligned with YAHAWASHI. These are the same guys back in the reincarnation that are upset that YAHAWASHI taught him directly, right? And now they're aligning with Rome. We're starting to find out, and we probably will come to light, a lot of these guys sold out and took a purse. All right, so this is Philippians 1:19 again. For I shall know that this shall turn to my salvation through prayer and the supply of the Spirit of YAHAWASHI Mashiach, according to my earnest expectation and my hope, that at nothing I shall be ashamed, but that with all boldness, as always, so now also Hamashiach shall be magnified in my body, whether it be life or by death. The YAHAWASHI, man. I pray I know y'all were edified. Just wanted to show you that Colossians, the 3rd chapter, Paul expounds to the Israelites scattered in Colossae about what YAHAWASHI was saying in Matthew 18. All right, and did I get examined myself? Let me look that up, because that's what I wanted to link with John 15. Let's just read that. All right. Really quick. 2 Corinthians 13:5. It says, Examine yourselves whether you be in the faith. Prove your own selves. I mean, you have to try yourself. All right, keep getting that sense. Do you know the sincere milk? Have you been growing thereby steadily? All right. Have you had some of the biscuit, the meat? All right, can you still digest it? All right. Are we being moderate with these things? How that YAHAWASHI Mashiach is in you, except ye be reprobates, which means void of judgment. So that's why we have to pray for the supply of the Spirit. We have to abide in him, all right, so that we can bear much fruit. Because if we don't, on the flip side of that, there's fire, right? And we talked about that with those members. If a man, John, Yakanan, not Yahana, all right, Yakanan, or Yawakan, Yakanan, all right, that's how you say it. John 15:6. If a man abide not in me, he is cast forth as a branch and is withered, and men gather them and cast them into the fire, and they are burned. If ye abide in me, and my words abide in you, ye shall ask what ye will, and it shall be done unto you. And Thawadi YAHAWASHI for that promise, because the Lord is really working on our behalf, as long as we stay engaged and stay true to the form of the doctrine that was delivered to us, all right, by the hands of our apostles and bishops and elders in these times known as Great Millstone. This is the same exact doctrine that Paul taught, that he got from YAHAWASHI. So all praises to YAHAWASHI for that. And of course, shalom to the hopeful elect. Shalom, shalom.